The regular meeting of the Waterworks and Lighting Commission for Wednesday, August 14th, 2013 at 1 p.m. will come to order. First, because the regular chairperson isn't here, we'll need a nomination for chairperson just for this meeting and also the secretary.
I'll nominate John Harper.
Second on that.
Okay, there was a nomination and second for John Harper to be chairperson. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then I nominate Tom for the secretary.
Okay, and I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. For the public comment portion, please keep in mind that this is the business meeting of the Waterworks and Lighting Commission and not a public hearing. Persons who wish to address the commission may do so, but should not expect to engage in discussion with the commissioners or expect commission employees to answer specific questions during the public comment period. Individuals will be allowed to speak in order in which they signed up. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual, and we have a person asking to discuss billing problems. So Carol, the floor is yours.
Okay, this just came up, so it's real recent, and I have the documentation that you can each see. I think it's so on too. When a place gets vacant, one of my rental places get vacant, we get this letter from Waterworks and Lighting.
Thank you.
Which is fine if you guys want. I need you to see this for sure. Okay, now I get the billing, and I first want to say that on July 15th, I called Waterworks and Lighting and asked for the final water and sewer bill, because as landlords, we have 21 days to get the security deposit back to these renters. So I called and I wrote a check out. Here's a copy of the check and the canceled check and the statement on there saying it's the final water and sewer for Marina Cartwright. Now I get the letter on August 6th of overdue counts, and Marina Cartwright is on there as a delinquent water and sewer bill. And I want to know how this happens.
Thank you.
When I tried to go out of my way to make sure, that I don't have these things recurring on my tax bill, that makes me so angry. And I took all the steps, and if you look on the check, it says, final water and sewer bill. How was that money applied then? Was it applied partly toward the electric bill? And a suggestion would be also, why couldn't the final water and sewer bills be on that letter you sent me on the 8th? Then everything is taken care of. And if the computer can't do that, then you either need a new computer or a new program to do that.
Thank you for your comments, and we'll have Joel follow up with you, Carol, to get this resolved.
Okay, is there a motion for approval, additions, or corrections to the agenda as mailed?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion made and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval, additions, or corrections to the minutes of the regular commission meeting.
I'll make a motion that the corrections stand as written.
I'll second.
There's a motion made and seconded by Tom and Mike to approve the regular commission meeting held on, for the regular commission meeting held on July 10th. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Kurt isn't here today on excused absence. For the focus on energy portion of it, Mike, did you want to comment on an article?
Yes, I'd like to, I won't read the whole thing, but it struck me and I found it quite interesting. Wisconsin utilities record jump in energy savings during 2012. Energy efficiency projects by Wisconsin utilities participating in Focus on Energy, a statewide energy efficiency and renewable energy program, saved approximately 650 million kilowatt hours and 26 million therms of natural gas. It goes on to explain more, and the reason I'm bringing it up is we hear so many negative things. I believe this is a positive thing that should be brought.
Good, and we have no really further updates on Focus on a whole lot's happening. I think the newest thing, and you might have saw it in Kurt's report, is that at the beginning of the year, they are going to eliminate the incentives for any solar projects. I guess they just felt they weren't getting the bang for the buck on how much they were incenting versus what they were getting out of it. That's the only update there.
Okay. Great Lakes Utility?
Great Lakes Utilities met on the 24th of July. Essentially, a project update on the Lakes Wind project, which is in Minnesota, was given. It has broken ground and is expected to be completed in early January and start delivering power to the grid. As you recall, Blue has contracted to purchase most of the output of that unit, but most of it's going to the western group and not to the eastern group, but a total of about 85% of the capacity. Also discussed proposals for a new website, and none of them were really got a lot of attention, so basically we went back out and are going to get more bids and look at those to determine who's going to redesign the website. Also, I at the last meeting was also elected as the chairman of the board of Great Lakes Utilities. But other than that,
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
You bring a lot to the table. Was that date correct for the Lakes Wind project? 6 months they'll have it up and running?
yep. I mean, once you get the roads and the infrastructure built to get to everywhere, those wind turbines go up in a hurry.
Okay. I thought there was a
There's
longer
a
lead
substation
time for
right
that.
there. Well, they've been ordered, and a lot of projects now have been either slowed on the drawing board or quit altogether. So there were a lot of wind turbines that were in manufacture that are available because they've been canceled. So that's how they got their hands on them so quick.
Okay, thank you. Department updates, starting with the safety committee. I just had a question as far as the latest storms and with the crews being busy, how did that work out safety issue wise? And was any portion of that could be used for just reminder safety training? I mean, you're under the gun trying to get the lines up and running, but I'm just trying to get an update where we are on safety.
I actually, we didn't have time for me, but I went around each individual that was on the field and talked to them independently just to see if they had any concerns. As far as the storms went, I think everything went off without a hitch.
Okay.
And the guys are very safe in what they do, so.
It was a long day.
I'm sure. Any other comments? The line superintendent's report?
I have a question. Continued work on Highway 73 North, where is that?
It's Highway 13 is now Highway 73.
Oh,
So
okay,
past Homestead, we're rebuilding the single phase line,
okay.
and that's where they're working.
And then you also have one of your after-hours calls with a bad termination at Ocean Spray,
Yep.
something,
Yeah, in fact, I actually had some stuff I was gonna bring in for show and tell that's in my office. I forgot to grab it, but 6 years ago, that had been 2007, the terminations that were done at Ocean Spray, what it is a aluminum cable that had a copper lug crimped onto the cable, which is a definite no-no. The metals expand at different rates, and so what looks like a good connection at the time it's installed turns out to be a bad connection as you go through a winter and a summer freezing and heating process. And I talked to the people at T&B, they're the manufacturer of the lugs. They said because that cable is on all the time, it takes a longer period of time for it to fail. If it would be on a circuit where it's being turned on and turned off repeatedly, we would have probably saw that failure a lot sooner than 6 years. So after that cable failed that day, and again, we were in a long night, it was around 4:30 on a Friday that it failed, and it was 9:30 by the time we got everything repaired. But we had Banner Electric come in and do hotspot analysis on all the terminations for those Ocean Spray feeders. And what we found is we got all of the terminations have hotspots. So since that time, we've repaired the ones that we can repair on the fly, and we've got a scheduled outage on the 26th to replace the ones that we cannot get at.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
We're also adding a tie between the two transformers at Ocean Spray, so without reliability down the road, we'll be able to switch from both feeds, both transformers.
So that's in a transformer on our end.
It's actually in switch gear, we call it PMH Gear. It's a set of, it looks like a green box from the outside sitting on the ground, but internally it has switches in it that allow you to feed from different locations out to different equipment.
Okay.
And that's where these terminations are located. There's 2 of those on site at Ocean Spray on each end of the plant.
Sure. Okay. Any other comments?
Yeah.
Okay.
Todd, when I was working for the power company and for a contractor, for instance, when we had a bus bar set up, and we had to put something of a different coat with it, someone would come in and show us how to do. In other words, we would have a class put on by the vendor. Do you do anything like that here? or-
Yeah, in fact, I talked to T&B again, and they do free training on how to properly lug cables, and they're gonna be coming in shortly to do that. I was waiting for more of a fall type day, because we're extremely busy right now in the summer, but I do intend to bring them in for a day training on that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments, questions? Okay. Water Department report?
I have a question. I see you have a letter from the Department of Natural Resources for your approval for upgrading status for the scale pilot to prototype plant. How long did it take you to get that through?
Quite a while. Actually, it was what,
Well, it looked like you just,
3-4 months?
okay, that's not quite,
From
that's,
the
That's
submittal,
like-
yeah. Once they got the engineering drawings and they saw that the pilot was successful, then they started looking at the engineering plans, and it was a lot shorter wait than you're having to do with the wastewater plant, yeah.
yeah, that's my question. You know, we're waiting a year and a half for something that's been in a year and a half. And,
Our engineers must have more pull than the wastewater.
yeah, you guys are just better at it.
No, I don't think it is.
Is there a reason, Dale, for relocating the gas chlorine equipment?
As part of the codes or whatever, nowadays, we'll have to relocate it, move it to a different spot, go off the codes.
It's code, okay. And do we have room for the new PE tanks, scales and storage? I mean, is that gonna be downstairs or upstairs?
It'll be in the same spot where the alum tanks are now, we'll take them out, put new tanks in.
So you're not changing that location? Okay. And do you have a projected start and completion date? I mean, right now you're getting ready for bids, but,
I'm hoping to have it all done by the end of the year. I think the original contract said like end of February was the final date, to say they have it completed.
Okay, good.
We're just waiting for the water season, our peak water season to wind down, and then we'll get started. I think the bids will be back in a couple of weeks, right? So,
Very good. Any other comments? The office manager's report?
I have one question, Joel. You know, you talked from 97 to 2011, the accounts being written off by credit recovery service. And there was, like you said, virtually $1 million. And of that amount, 349,000 has been collected. Is that net after their fees, or is that before their fees?
That is before their fees.
What is their fees?
It depends a little bit, but depends on the age of the receivable,
Okay.
depends on the amount. But it'd be safe to say that we're seeing probably half that.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Joel, do you see any reason why the PCA charges have dropped 7.5% from June? Do you have any idea what caused that?
Well, the revenue in arrears was down 7.5%. It's a component of, see, the receivables lag the sales month, obviously, by at least 1 month.
Right.
So the preceding month's sales were down a little bit too, so that's a factor in that. That's probably the major factor, is the lag between sales.
I would like to commend you on your attempt during the heat advisory to try to get people reconnected. Did you want to elaborate on that a little bit? What you're
Sure.
really trying to do during the heat advisory?
When the National Weather Service issues a heat advisory in Wisconsin, utilities are prevented from doing any electric disconnects. Beyond that, we're required to reconnect any service address that's occupied where there's a medical issue, okay? It's more time consuming to figure out if someone's got a medical issue than just to go out and reconnect all the occupied service addresses. So that's what we do. And then once the advisory is lifted, they're disconnected again. It's a public safety.
Sure, thank you. It must be difficult and time consuming to try to track those households down.
They do a good job of it.
Okay. Any other comments? The Director of Finance report? You have switching credit card bank, and any rebates, is that a cash rebate that goes back into
In this case, it would be a cash
miscellaneous
rebate.
revenue or whatever?
Exactly.
Okay,
Right.
all right. Thank you. Any other comments? Information System Administrators Report? Would you like to give us an update on all the projects you're working on, Matt?
We have some time? No, I'm just kidding. We've got, well, the GIS inventory is in full swing.
Okay.
They've got, they just brought another person on board to help out. So they'll be finishing up the west side here in a week or so. And then all that data gets sent back to their office for quality control. After that, they send it to us for our own quality control. So probably another month before we get the live data up and running. But after that, they're gonna start on Kellner, Grand Rapids area.
Okay.
And they're gonna do what we call the north and south loop. And then they'll come back to Baker Substation out in Kellner there, and they'll run between the substations, picking up all of the cable that connects the substations together.
Okay.
So that's the next big push. after
Just
they
for
finish the west
clarification
side.
for the audience, if you want to explain what the GIS software is doing.
Oh, yeah, Geographic Information System is what it stands for. And what that does is that provides us with graphical representation of our entire service territory and all the cables and transformers and poles that exist within it. So right now, what the company, Davy Resource Group, is doing for us is they're going out and doing an on-site inventory of all of the poles and transformers and lines and everything involved in that to update our system so that we can move forward with other stuff like outage management systems and asset management systems and stuff to make the utility run better.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Conservation Manager report, Kurt isn't here. Jim or Todd might be able to answer any of your questions if there are any.
I know one thing, Kurt's been working at the wastewater treatment plant with the gas motor generator, and to this date, what the generator does, the motor running on gas, it runs on sewer gas and natural gas. And Kurt and Jim Neitzel have been working on getting a blend or trying to find the optimum with sewer gas, and not as in the control of the purchasing of natural gas. And the natural gas budget is on target, but the wastewater treatment plant has saved $30,000 from January to June for the city. So, some of these conservation things that you can put in place really do a pretty good job. And I know Kurt's been working pretty hard on that.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? The Engineer Supervisor report.
That's what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I did have the one image of the thermal scans in the report. The one that blew up is actually the one pictured on the left that we had already replaced and repaired. So the two right next to it, were showing hot spots that were, a little bit about 30 degrees hotter than the other ones. And you can kind of tell the one on the left, that gray color, that is the normal color of the stress cone, and then the other two are the color is actually changing because of the heat that's being dissipated from the bad termination. So.
Any other questions or comments? General Manager's report. The line superintendent, Randy Anderson, isn't here, but I would like to thank him for his many years of service and wish him luck on his retirement.
When is Randy retiring?
His last day here is Tuesday,
Really? Oh, that came quick.
so Paul will be effective on Monday as the new line superintendent.
Welcome aboard, Paul. Any other comments? Correspondence.
We have two letters, one from Encourage and to Waterworks and Lighting Commission. On behalf of the Board of Directors and staff of Encourage Community Foundation, I wish to express our appreciation for your gifts to the Community Fireworks Fund. Contributors' names may be listed in Encourage Community Foundation publications or on our website. If you would prefer that your name not be listed, please notify our office and we will certainly honor your request. Thank you. Sincerely, Mary Wirtz. And we have another letter from Jeremiah's Crossing. Thank you for your generous donation and support of Jeremiah's Crossing. With help from community members like you, the charity charge was a huge success. Your donation of 10 cases of bottled water helped raise over $2,000 that will be added to the indoor arena barn fund. Our special riders depend on lessons to help them feel better. Our planned indoor riding complex will allow them to ride in any type of weather. A longer lesson season means better health. You have helped in a big way. Again, thank you for your support. Sincerely, Jeremiah's Crossing. And that's it.
Thank you. Review of accounts payable. Jeff, on page 3, well, actually, it's probably for Dale. Page 3 for the hydrant flags. Does this cover all of them, or just some of the hydrants that were missing some flags? I mean, do you try to have a hydrant flag at every location?
We try to avoid snowplows hitting them and
Right.
so forth and so on.
Okay,
And we have quite a few older ones that are falling apart or
Sure.
falling off, or
Okay.
people tear them off or whatever, so.
so it's the maintenance, okay?
I have on page 10, Department of Administration, low-income portion of public benefit, I take it. Anybody have any idea? It's $32,238?
That's part of the public benefits fee that's collected on every customer's utility bill. Half of it goes to fund Focus on Energy, and half of it goes to fund the low-income heating assistance program, and that's what this portion is. That's for a quarter.
Okay, I see. Is that a yearly charge, or?
It's monthly to fund Focus on Energy, and then quarterly we pay the amount to fund the low income.
I see.
And that's administered by the county locally, right?
It winds up being administered by the county locally, yes.
It's administered by the county?
The low income part of it.
Okay.
Right. On an annual basis, both numbers wind up being the same because they're entitled to half of what we collect,
All right.
each of them.
And what is, that's on page 10 also, is the MIU member dues. What is that due based on? I mean, it's not a flat rate for all the utilities.
No, they're based upon kilowatt hours and revenue,
Okay,
and we're one of the bigger ones,
I would assume that. And then, how do you, for what we pay for that, how do you see the benefits coming out of that?
Well, from a legislative and regulatory perspective, significant.
Okay.
Because they do all of our lobbying, they also provide all of our job training and safety related activities.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean,
All right,
there's good value there.
okay. Thank you. I didn't have any other questions. Okay, Mike.
When we have a water main break, do you rent the barricades?
No, typically we have our own, unless we run into a problem where we're either short or we need extra ones, we get them from the city. The city doesn't have them, they haven't always said we can rent things, but typically we have our own.
Okay, I see here we got on page 2, $958, and on page 1, $798 for barricades.
What that probably is, the city is working on 9th Street. And water main is one of the projects that they're working on, so we share the cost of the barricades for that project.
Okay.
Chair recognizes Mike.
Yeah, I had a question for Mr. Brown. Why do you need a lobbyist?
Well, he's not specifically dedicated to us here, he's dedicated to all 82 municipal utilities.
Okay.
But you're right, individually we wouldn't, no.
Any other comments or questions?
I got one more question. I need updated on the electrical. Is pulling tape, is that for in the conduit? Okay, we never had pulling tape, so.
Purchase whenever a contractor does a directional bore, and whenever we lay our own conduits in, sometimes the tape, if it's over a long run, it provides the extra strength that we need for pulling in our rope and everything, so.
Okay. And then, because that one for 5,900, then that tape, then you'll have for quite a while, or?
Yes. A lot of the tape is reused whenever we can. We coil it up and we'll re-blow it, or either
Okay.
that, or if we do it in a continuous run off a reel, we'll roll it back onto the reel, so it can be reused over again.
We didn't roll all of it back. Thank you.
Okay. Any other business?
Nope, in the next couple of weeks, we'll probably have to get together on some issues. I was gonna have a finance committee meeting this morning, but since we're down commissioners, I'm gonna wait till they're back in town and feeling better, so
Thank you.
I'll be sending out an email on that.
Okay. And I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Meeting is adjourned.